What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 114 of Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer. TC Backer.
Here we are.
TC Backer family, episode 114. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. We got some special guests with us tonight. We got Nick and Pete all the way from Roofr. Where are you guys located at, Nick and Pete?
I'm out in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
Oh.
Nice.
And I'm in New Jersey, so not far from you guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for freeing up an hour plus of your night, depending on how this conversation goes, man.
Right.
You guys look great. Audio sounds great. Like, once again, hopefully everyone's having a good week here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let's just hop right into it. So tell us about yourself, guys.
Yeah. What do you do? Where are you at? What's going on?
Yeah, Pete, you want to start it off?
Sure. Just to give you guys a little background on me. Came from a contracting background, came over to the tech side of the industry about 4+ years ago with a company called Job Progress, which I know you guys are super familiar with and work with. So worked there for a while and really, kind of cut my teeth on the tech side of the industry there. And then came over just over a year ago to Roofr, where I run the partnerships section of our business and, integrations, partnerships, and help a little bit with, onboardings and customer success.
Nice. What all companies do you integrate with, like as far as CRMs and stuff?
Yeah,
like
it's a great question. I mean, we're fairly new on it. I came over last year to kind of get the ball rolling. Roofr hadn't really done a lot of partnerships and integrations, so we're just kind of getting going with that. We built a Zapier integration that allows us to push our information over to your CRM or any other platform that you want to take that information to. And lots of stuff in the works. I think this will be a big year for us. We do have some partnerships with a couple of financing companies as well, Mosaic, PowerPay. Finance it in Canada so that we can help the contractors get financing if they want to offer that. But yeah, I think this is looking to be a big year for us in 2022 as far as the partnership goes, and hopefully we'll add a lot of value to the product through some integrations.
I love it.
Yeah,
I can hear the ambition, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
I do too. So what's up, Nick? Give us your side of the story here, man.
Yeah, I'm also a contractor. I'm a roofer by trade, so I'm a true roofer. My dad's a roofer. My uncles are roofers, so came from that background. And 2016, my cousin came to me with a great idea, and it was Roofr. And when he started going, everything started moving. He asked me to come on board, and I was officially the first hire. So right now I run the sales team. I'm the team lead on the sales side for account executives at the team. And I'm born and raised in this construction industry and wouldn't have it any other way.
That's fantastic.
That's the good stuff there.
Now,
man.
with both of you having contracting background experience, do you think that has helped you in any way with the space that you're in now?
Big time. Most of the sales team, the CEO is a roofer. I'm a roofer. Most of the sales team are roofers. I know Pete being from the construction background and a couple other our team members that have been there. I can just tell you from the sales side of things, it's a lot easier to bond and talk shop with these guys and help out their company. A lot easier to get their trust when you're talking from the same position that they're in, where you've gone through the same stuff, you've seen the same thing. So I feel like it makes a big difference. And on our product side, I think Pete can speak for it. We build things a little bit different. We build them for contractors. I know myself as being a contractor, starting roofing when I was 12 years old, I'm not the most tech savvy person. So building tools not for the tech savvy is really what sets us apart.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You can feel the roofer's pain. You know, if they're coming to you guys with a question, I know.
I got the scars to prove for it.
Yeah, yeah.
For real.
I love that. But, you know, someone being someone that's worked with a couple different CRMs, you know, one of my biggest bitches or gripes was, you know, I'm trying to explain something, a problem that I'm having in the field, an application to be able to use the program. And, you know, the tech guys that I'm talking to, like, they don't quite understand exactly what I'm trying to do with it. And you guys having the roofing background, you know, you guys have probably been in those same situations thinking like, man, if I had something that did this, that did X, Y, Z, you know, that'd be really great. So when someone brings you a problem, you can probably be like, oh, yeah, you know, we specifically designed this part of the application to help you with that part, you know?
Yeah, you know, to Nick's point, I think that it applies as much internally as it does to the customer-facing side of the business. You know, it's huge for us to be able to look at things that we're thinking of developing, right? And be able to say to the product team, you know, this will work in the real world or this won't, right? Or this is not going to function the way you think it's going to, you know, or it's missing this important thing that when they get out in the field and they go to use it is going to be crucial to its success, you know? So it definitely gives us an advantage all the way around, you know, relating to the customer, but also being able to convey that internally to, you know, the people who are developing the product.
Yeah.
Right on. So what is exactly Roofr? Is it pronounced Roofr or Roofr first, I guess? That's my first question. That's good.
Yeah, it's tomato. It's Roofr, but
Okay.
it's like, honestly, tomato. A lot of people call it Roofr. It's techie without the E, right? So,
Yeah.
but Roofr is a all-in-one sales platform. So we use aerial imagery as well as drone technology to provide measurements and full detailed premium reports for the user. We have them coming out as quick as possible when it comes down to you doing it yourself. As quick as you could apply the measurements, you get it out. Then we have $15 reports for the free user that come back and guaranteed within 24 hours. If you're one of our plans, that gets a little bit better. So you get $10 reports within 6 or 3 hours guaranteed, and access to a whole suite of tools that all fill out together, including a map to measurements proposal presentation tool that can help you increase your sales.
Nice. That's good stuff. So you're like an Eagle View or Roof Scope or any of those other aerial measurement tools then, I guess.
Yeah, Pete, you have your own side, like your own good way of describing this. So,
yeah, you know, I think that we fit in there. You know, I think that we've risen to the top to be one of the bigger players on the measurement side, and that's what really made us a household name. But I think we've taken it a step further, you know, by becoming more than just a measurement tool and being able to add that ability to roll it straight into a proposal and capture a large portion of the sales process. And, you know, we're only hoping to develop more and more tools to kind of be that front end piece of it, that sales portion of the process as much as possible for the roofer and simplify it by putting it all under one umbrella, all under one hood. And so, you know, that's really been the key for us, you know, and what's really set us apart, I think, is that, you know, we aren't just capturing one piece of it. You know, we aren't focusing just on the measurement or just on the proposal. We're putting it all together as a package.
Nice. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're also like an estimating software as
Absolutely.
well. Okay.
Yep.
Explain more about that to us, because, you know, these might seem like simple questions, but there's probably a lot of people out there that A, don't know you exist, or B, what all other features you guys offer as well.
Mm-hmm.
of course, yeah. When you're talking about an estimating software, and what Pete said, like an all-in-one tool, really kind of describes it. So I go back to like when I was roofing with my dad's company and looking at the quotes that we're dealing with. I also sold online for a lot of different companies back in the day as well. And you can have some of the best contractors out there, but they write on pen and paper. And it's the 21st century. Customers are going to say something about it. So yeah, the price is really good. I really like that guy, but this other guy at least printed it up for me. So when we were looking at what's the next evolution from our measurements, it's very evident that it would be those measurements into a presentation style proposal. Give the customers everything that they want. Be educational, be transparent, and provide everything in one spot. So you're coming to them with a beautiful presentation style quote, all the information about the manufacturer, building codes, everything that can be laid right in there, and email it out to them in a nice, easy way. And they could sign it, write in the notes about the colors and everything that they need, and send it back to the contractor. And this is all done and streamlined right through Roofr, from measurements to proposals to signed in minutes.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
good.
kind of like it's laid out like an Xactimate, because I heard you talk about codes and things like that. So being compared to Xactimate, like, is that apples to oranges or apples to apples?
Yeah, I would say apples to oranges. Like, that is a quoting software and one of the most powerful quoting softwares out there. But they go really and cater directly to the insurance and restoration world, whereas we're more of a lump sum line item proposal style looking. So it's not broken down by codes and F9s that are going to break down each different facet and speak insurance talk. So the homeowner is looking at it and being like, this is a different language to me. We break it down where you can make it very customizable, as simple as robust as you want it. Create those line items, create the descriptions that you want, add PDF, beautiful presentations throughout the entire thing, and have it out there. So in the restoration world where they're looking at Xactimate, we are combining retail as well as lump sum quoting to be able to service both sides, both insurance and retail roofing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. I had no idea personally. I didn't know. I thought you guys were just like an aerial roof measuring tool. Now, do you get into like the walls and things like that, gutter measurements and other things like that, or just the roof?
Yeah, as of right now, just the roof for the most part. I mean, we do have some capabilities. You could potentially use the software for that, because we do have the ability to upload images into the software and measure off the images. So you could conceivably pull, take photos of a house, upload them, and be able to pull measurements off of them if you wanted to. As simple as setting the scale and then pulling your measurements. But from our paid reports, it's mostly going to be based around the roof. So, one way to look at it coming from the CRM background is, so many of these guys, the contractors, get into a CRM, right? And they use the proposal feature that the CRM provides. And, at some point you're looking at that proposal and you think, well, it'd be cool if we could customize this, or if we could add these PDFs in here, or add some sales information, or maybe an about us page or something like that. And that's where our proposal software would come in, because it's, we're essentially going to be the next evolution for you, or a way to up your game a little bit on the style of proposal that you're creating, custom cover images, and just make it a little bit more flashy, make you stand out from the crowd, especially if you're in a real competitive market. We get some of these guys down in like Texas and Florida. They're in a really, really super competitive market, and they may be, one of half a dozen or more quotes that customer's getting. What makes your quote stand out? If everybody's quoting in their CRM, or maybe even in the same CRM, you could have 5 quotes that look identical, right? And the only difference is your price, right? And then I come in with a Roofr quote, and it's completely different looking, really clean looking, a lot of visual, pieces to it. I can add photos, I can add PDFs, sales materials from my manufacturer, things like that. So, it just gives you a leg up. And I think that's the easiest way to look at what we're doing in comparison to, what is traditionally been done as far as the proposal end of things in the industry.
That's a good point, man. I'm glad you brought up those congested areas, because in a place like Texas or, Oklahoma or Florida, where these guys are, the average roof life, I think, is what, 3 years? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's the small details. You know what I mean? It's the small details is what separates you from the next guy. Because, let's face it, a lot of times they're insurance work. The homeowner isn't necessarily coming out of pocket for anything other than their deductible usually. So, you're basically looking for those finite details about the contractor. Are they personable? Are they friendly? Did they strike up a conversation with me? How does their estimate look? How does their proposal look? All that kinds of stuff. Is their truck clean? Are they well dressed? Those little details are what separates you a lot of times in those really congested areas. So
right.
that's a good point.
No, and that's definitely a good point, because I know, and timing is everything. So the more streamlined you can make that process, and the quicker you can turn those over, the more people you can accommodate and follow up with. Because I know a couple years ago we had a process that was a very daunting process, the estimating process for a homeowner. We would have to come back to the shop. We used a lot of Excel spreadsheets and things like that, and then you'd have to copy and paste, upload your photos, email them to you yourself, upload the photos, then pull them over to the estimate. It was just like this long, drawn out process. And personally, it killed me. And then to try to train somebody to do all of that stuff and make it duplicatable, it was just a freaking disaster. So I totally understand the streamlined portion of it. I'm curious to actually see what it looks like. Not tonight or anything like that, but definitely sometime after the show, let's get together, and I'm curious to see what it looks like as far as like the estimate looks like, and what the report looks like, more so than anything. I'm curious in that for sure.
Sure. Yeah. And I think one thing to note to the point you made there, Ty, like I think along the lines now that so many people are adopting this type of, software and things like this, speed, what we call speed to lead, is becoming a huge piece of it, right? Like you said, if there's guys lining up to bring a proposal to somebody that's probably been through the process before because their roof got, damaged 3 years ago, they've already been through it. They're essentially a seasoned buyer, right? So a lot of times the best way to win their business is to be the first guy in the door, right? So, and I think that a software like ours, because you can pull that measurement and roll it straight into a proposal and drastically reduce the amount of time needed to build that proposal, you could conceivably, show up at that house with ready to get a signature, right? And you're not only now are you the first guy in the door, but you're ready to close the deal and not have to leave and come back and all that. So, it's really been a huge benefit, with the way the industry is moving more towards this, first in the door, speed to lead is what's going to win the business, especially on the insurance side.
For sure. I totally agree with that.
On top of that, what Pete was saying is what you guys mentioned is those little details there. When you're considered a dime a dozen, the roofing company. Think about DFW, for example. It's one of the busiest markets in all of North America and one of the biggest markets for roofers. When you're considered a dime a dozen, exactly to your point, what is separating you? Could be the way you dress, could be how you're presented. But it also comes down to what you're offering the customer. Not just offering in the way of pricing, not just offering in the way of, hey, my company's been around for 25 years and I got a name behind it. But what information am I giving you up front so you're not going to have to go back and think again? Am I going to have those sample colors there for you, or are you going to have to come to my shop, or am I going to have to come back and bring out those big old sample boards? These kind of things can make a big difference. And when you're looking at something from measurements to proposals in a quick little bit, you can conceivably get a lead, order the report, have it delivered back to you, a premium report in less than 3 hours, click a button, port that over to a proposal, and send it out. But like Pete said, speed to lead, you're the first one in. Now everyone's being compared to you. If you're the last person called, you're coming in with that quote quickly and blowing away the competition. And that's us trying to empower those roofers to be able to increase their sales with a lot less effort to go with it.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the sound of it.
Speed to lead. I like that.
Yeah, I do too. Go ahead, Nick. What were you going to say?
I said it rhymes too, so it makes it sound.
Yes, it's definitely catchy. It definitely is for sure. Okay, so crap, I was thinking of something while you were speaking. I'm trying to be real intentional and listen to you and not think about what I'm going to say next. We're doing this Fearless 44, and one of my shortcomings is not, and not to get off topic here, is that I'm constantly thinking about what I want to say next and not really necessarily paying attention to what the person is saying. So I'm really trying to be intentional on what you're saying. So pardon me, but I lost my train of thought there for a second. But okay, so you do roofing measurements. You're also an estimating software, which is pretty hot because I didn't know that right away. And I wish I'd have knew about this 2 or 3 years ago, or else we'd have probably went more towards that way because I know the estimating thing is it's so time consuming. It can be if you don't have the right process in place, and with it being the season is shortly upon us right now, it's like you got to churn and burn almost. You know, you almost got to like set it and forget it kind of thing. And that's what it almost sounds like. So what you're saying is so when that report comes back, and if we had a macro made up within your estimating software, will it basically fill out, like basically do the estimate for you?
Yeah, it's essentially going to autofill the quantities on that proposal for you based off of the measurements that were pulled on that property. So what it does is it essentially just scrubs our measurement report for the summary numbers, right? You know, how many facets and your squares and that all that information, and it just applies it to the line items that you've created on your template or your macro, and it's going to calculate the quantities for you. You've already preset your pricing on the back end. So it's essentially just going to spit out a price for you. So, you know, to your point, like you were saying, you know, the system that you guys had a couple of years ago where it was a nightmare to not only do, but to potentially train somebody on, you know, having a software set up the way ours is, it standardizes the way your entire team creates proposals. Not only that, it allows you to bring in people from a sales point of view that don't have to have a roofing background. It's essentially get an address, pull a report, apply it to the proposal template that you want to apply it to, and it's going to spit you out a number, right? And yeah, obviously you can tweak that, you know, if you need to change the margin or you want to add or delete some items, you know, maybe the house has skylights or the customer wants to add skylights, you want to throw them a discount, whatever the case may be, you can do some modifications to it. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, the price is essentially there, right? So I don't have to have, you know, people that have been in the business for 15 years just to be able to quote, right? I can grab, you know, like somebody said, I can grab a guy from Chick-fil-A, you know, that just has a great customer service background and now teach him how to be a roofing salesman because I've standardized this process.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's something we definitely started working on a couple years ago was because especially when the pandemic hit, we thought there was going to be, and there was like an over influx of people from the hospitality industry, bartenders, waitresses, waiters, and people like that were going to come knocking at the door. So we knew we needed to come up with, you know, a streamlined system that was easily duplicated, easily trained. And basically you could sell roofs all day long sitting from right here. Technically, right. You know what I mean? The phone call comes in, and that's what I like about your system. If I'm listening to you correctly, basically the estimate is getting started the moment the phone rings. The person's information goes into the computer or into your program, okay? Sends it out to you guys. It comes back, basically types up your quote for you, and then once it comes back, you just email it out. Is that basically it in a nutshell?
Yeah, and you guys are basically empowering the salesperson because I know we got some salespeople here that like to have something written up ahead of time before they even go out and make that first initial contact. So especially your organic leads, you know, it's one thing, you know, we just did a trade show, right? So they're meeting the salespeople out at the trade show, setting up appointments in person and all that stuff. It's nice to have something. You know, if Bucky's going out to see Mrs. Smith and he knows that she needs a roof replacement just off of the 2-minute conversation that they had, when he shows up to Mrs. Smith's door, you know, barring any objections, I'll talk to my husband. Well, I have this quote here, ready to rock and roll. You know, this is what your number would be. You can sign right now if you wanted to. You know what I mean? You know, to empower them to have that on hand, that they're not having to go out, go back to the shop, write something up, and potentially leave that homeowner alone for another 3 hours, especially in the DFW area, for someone to come knocking on the door and steal that roof right out from underneath you. So,
yeah, you know, and we could even go one better than that in the fact that we have a DIY tool that allows you to draw the roof. And like Nick mentioned earlier, it gives you instantaneous results. Like it's not even ordering a report and waiting a few hours to get it back. You could literally draw the roof and download a report right there on the spot. So to your point there, you could be at a home show. Someone could walk up, you could plug their address in, measure their house, and roll it into a proposal and literally give them a quote while they're standing next to you at the home show. It'd probably, awesome. What, Nick? 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes?
Well, we actually have a user who does that. His name is Paul Swingle. Shout out to Paul. And he's out in Savannah, Georgia. And he goes out to these home shows and DIYs them. When a customer comes and says, how much would my roof cost? He's like, well, let me show you. Give me your address. He has it up on the big screen, types in the address, draws out the roof in minutes, hits go. He's got a 7-page report with the detail and just goes create proposal and says, here, I just sent it to your phone. Why don't you take a look at it? And finish things up that quickly. On the other side of things, where Pete was talking about, we have a guy named Cody, shout out Cody, in Houston, Texas, and he'll get a call from Mrs. Jones, go out to the job, say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm Cody. I'm just going to pop up there with my drone real quick, and then I'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Goes up there, takes photos of the damage, goes a little higher, screenshots the size of the roof, goes into his truck on his laptop, draws it out, clicks create proposal, uploads the photos with the damages, and walks to the door where she thinks that he's just going to come back and say, hey, yeah, I'll come back for in a little bit with the estimate. He's got a multi-page detailed report with all the manufacturer specs, the damages on her roof. And they're like, why am I not going to sign with you? Nobody else is going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then just add a couple more things to that. I mean, along with that, because that's slick as hell, to come prepared, you know, that's one less thing you got to worry about. Like you were saying earlier, you can think about making sure you have the correct samples or whatever else you need to gather up. And then think of this, if you actually get on their roof, because a lot of roofers don't even get on the roof. So you go there, you do the inspection, you crawl in their attic space, you make sure they got the adequate, you know, ventilation, insulation, all that stuff. You walk out to your truck and be like, oh, by the way, here's your quote. These are the things I've identified after I did my inspection, and here's your quote. Like, that's over the top right there, because a lot of contractors do take advantage of tools like yours, but they're not actually doing like the inspections, because we hear that all the time. Like, you're the first contractor that crawled up in my attic or got on our roof. Do you know what I mean? So we pride ourselves to make sure we want to find out why. Why did you need a new roof? Okay, because we're not really in like a storm-prone area other than like high winds, but we don't get much hail and big storms like they do down south. So we go up, we inspect the roof. Usually it's due to like age reasons or improper installation or improper ventilation or insulation. So most roofs, I would say there's a statistic that I think most homes, I think like 90% of homes have inadequate ventilation, at least in our area. So if you put a 30-year shingle on somebody's home and the house isn't breathing the way that it's supposed to breathe, you're only going to get 10 or 15 years out of it. And that's what we experience a lot here. So we like to go up and try to identify, like, why did you need a new roof in the first place? Correct that issue, then install the roof.
Yeah, education.
Yes.
Education. And I think what you guys are kind of getting at with your program, it offers an educational tool. You know what I mean? That you're able to present more information in a way that the homeowner understands what they're looking at. You know, you guys referred to Xactimate and all those codes, and it's funny that you guys said it puts it in a language that the homeowner doesn't understand, and I think that's the whole problem with insurance companies. You know, they hide all the stuff that they don't want you to see in crazy languages that just don't make sense to you. But we're so big on the educational part. You know what I mean? The very first thing that we need to do when we go out there is educate the homeowner. You know, before you try to sell them, educate them, because if you educate them, they're going to feel foolish not to get what you're trying to give them. You know what I mean? Because they're going to see the value. They're going to see what exactly you're trying to offer them. You're trying to help them. You know what I mean? So that's really big, man. I like the educational aspect that you guys offer.
For sure.
Back when I was selling roofs for my dad, so my dad's been in business this is his 28th year. And he taught me from a young age, it's all about education and transparency. That's why those are my hook lines, Pete. It's from my dad.
Absolutely.
So when I used to sell for him, we would get a phone call, and I would talk to them, and I would say, exactly to your point of education, I go, all right, Mrs. Jones, how old is your roof? They're like, I think it's around 12 years, 15 years. It's like, all right, so what you have on your roof, and up in Canada, we have the same kind of weather patterns as you do. So it's like you have the organic asphalt roof on there. They are discontinued. The reason they are discontinued, and I would walk them through the history, a quick history lesson, and tell them what happened to the roof and how we can improve it with the new products. Like I know you guys are GAF certified, so like the GAF HDZ, we're going to go on there. It's a reinforced fiberglass shingle with carbon fiber woven areas, all that stuff. So before you even give them a quote, they understand now what's going on, whereas everybody else is either handing them a quote on a piece of paper or just coming out there, dropping off something there and not explaining what happened to the roof. Why is this 30-year roof only lasting 15 years? and what's going to be different about the new ones other than saying, no, it's got a 50-year warranty, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, they just said that it was a 30-year warranty last time, so what are they going to trust you for?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's exactly to your point about education and transparency. It makes the difference in everything.
Yeah, out here, man, you wouldn't believe how many roofs we get on, and even ones that we haven't gotten on yet, man. You got a 3-tab shingle, and then you got an architectural shingle on top of that. You know, the 3-tab shingle's only 20 years old. The architectural shingle's 8 years old, and they still need a new roof because, you know, the last homeowner was like, oh, yeah, you know, I won't even charge you for tear-off. We're just going to go right over this thing, and they don't even fix what's wrong. You know, they got a rotten attic because they got no ventilation, or they got too much insulation or something. You know what I mean? Something along those lines, and you're just adding layer and layer and layer on top of these roofs, thinking that you're giving the homeowners value, but you're really just doing them a disservice because you're not educating them. You're not even fixing the problem that's actually going on. Why do they have 50 years worth of shingles on their roof and they've only had their home for 17 years? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that plays huge into, you know, some of the other, like I just did a podcast where we were talking about generating leads and sales, and, you know, it plays right into that because now you've built a level of trust, right? Because you were transparent, because you educated them, you know, like we have this thing that we're trying to like essentially teach roofers is to become their guy, right? Like if I need a mechanic, I probably have a guy, right? If I need to go to the dentist, I have a guy, right? Why can't I be that guy for roofing? And, you know, so we keep kind of like reiterating that is like how do you become that guy, right, for them? And this is how you do it, right? You go in, you educate them, you build that trust level, you build that credibility, and then you're much more likely to be their first thought in their mind when it comes time to, you know, refer you or, you know, leave that review or whatever the case may be. That's going to eventually lead to more sales for you as a contractor.
Yeah, trust, man. I love that point. You know, your home is your biggest asset, right? It's when you dump money into your home, that's your baby. You know, most of us don't just have multiple homes that we're just like, whatever, it's just a house. You know what I mean? Our house is our biggest investment, and a roof is a pretty big investment in that house. So when you're looking to give someone $8,000 to $20,000, depending on how big your house is, you know, look at the analogy like this. You know, if you go up to New York City and you want to buy a nice expensive watch, are you going to buy it up from the guy on the corner, or are you going to go into a jewelry store and buy it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're going to buy it from the person that you trust, right? So the number one key, education, that brings trust. Because if you come to the door and you're like, look, I'm trying to educate you, obviously they're going to trust you a little bit more than the guy that's like, no, your roof's just shot.
Yeah, we don't know what happened. It's that line when you said your home is your biggest investment. A line I always used to use is your home is your biggest investment. Your roof is protecting that investment. Let's not cheap out on that investment.
Yes, because
it's not the sexiest of purchases. It's not a new kitchen where you can show all your friends, be like, hey, check it out, this nice waterfall marble island and stuff. But if you're having a nice dinner party in there and your roof leaks, that party's ruined. Right. So focus on what's important. Top down is always that.
And I mean, if they want something sexy, we can give them some metal with, you know, some nice copper trim. And, you know, something like that. We can give them sexy if they want that.
Yeah, or
glad to make that upsell, right?
Right, exactly. But especially with the way that, you know, the energy cost is nowadays, it's like, and what made me think of that was solar. We had a solar training today. And that's an investment, a roof or solar. I mean, that's an investment of trying to keep your home warm or cool, or, you know, everyone's trying to figure out a way where they can save cost. I mean, the fuel cost, it took me, I had to run my debit card twice. Okay. The first time I put it in, it gave me 23 gallons. And then the second time I ran it, it gave me, I'm trying to think, the size of my tank was like 35. So like another 12 gallons. Because it would only allow me to fill it up so much. I could put $100 in, and I had to put another
$100 in, right?
Yeah, and then I had to put another $27. And I mean, if you're gonna jack us over the fuel price, at least raise that limit a little bit. I'm getting off track here a little bit, but what a pain in the ass. And then I go to the grocery store. Okay, what used to get me a cart full of groceries, like for real. I mean, think about it. I like not even that long ago, $100 would fill a cart, like for real. Okay, now you're lucky.
$400.
Yeah,
if you fill the cart.
$350, $400. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everything's expensive right now, and unfortunately, shingles are expensive. But that's definitely something you're not going to want to cheap out on. Your roof. Okay, if you're going to cut corners on something, like maybe you would want to cut back a little bit on your kitchen or your bathroom, but those are all things I think most people, that's like a more of a want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a roof is more of a necessity. And because of it being a necessity that is protecting your biggest asset, why would you want to cut corners on that?
Yeah.
You-
That's a real good point, Ty. That's a real good point. We're about halfway through the segment here, right, real quick. I want to take a quick break here and give a shout-out to our sponsor, Lead Scout. We appreciate you guys. If anyone out there doesn't know what Lead Scout is, hop onto their website. I'm sorry for my words here. I'm mixed up my words there. You hear that live studio audience. Also want to give some shout outs here. Aaron Thomas, tell your wife that we said happy birthday from TC Backer. Johnny Stauffer, it's Johnny Stauffer's birthday. Happy birthday. Tina Yori, the Vic from behind the scenes here, Vic's wife Tina, it's her birthday, so happy birthday to you. Dan Barker, we see you in here, buddy. Mike Brown, what's going on, buddy? Pam List. Who else we got in here? Zach Fisher, Brittany Butler, Billy Baker, Gio. We got all the crew in here.
Yeah,
TJ, Jennifer Hitchens. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys give us a follow, give us a like, share this stream out. And if you guys have not, check out Roofr's Facebook page. Give them a like. And who else we got in here? Wayne Sweeney. What's up, buddy?
Jana's on here. Good to see you,
Collin, Tom Golden, Lewis, David KX.
TJ Rohrball.
The whole gang's
Good
in
to see you,
here.
brother.
Yes, the whole gang's in here. But when we cut back here, man, I'd like to get into some juicy stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we've just talked about all kinds of technical stuff, and we like to pride our podcast on getting into juicy details about the people. You know. So Nick and Pete, man, what got you guys into Roofr? You know, what stood out about Roofr that made you guys do that?
Pete, my story is easy. You go with yours.
Yeah, I mean, being in the industry, obviously found out about Roofr probably just like most contractors had. You know, they came in and I was like, wow, who are these guys? Like, why are they doing measurements so much cheaper, right? Like, what's the deal? There's got to be a catch, right? How do you produce a measurement similar to the other companies and do it at half the price or a third of the price? You know, so it was interesting for me to see that and then dive in a little bit more into the company, realize, what they had going on, and really what struck me the most was the potential. Having conversations with the team over there even prior to going over there. Working with some of those guys on webinars and things like that, and just kind of getting a feel for, the direction that Roofr was going and what they were hoping to accomplish in the industry, and the thought of being able to change the game a little bit, and kind of break from the norm and produce products for roofers that not only were there to help them, but also, were cost effective and really just kind of turn the market upside down, was what really appealed to me the most. And, it was really what drove me to come over here and be part of this team. And it's an amazing team. I think that we've put together a really good group of all-stars and, as great as the product is at this point, I think that it's just the tip of the iceberg of what, we're going to accomplish over here.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like you guys got good culture over there.
It does.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it. That's the truth.
Yeah, it's a fun place to work. Like, there's never a dull moment with us. It's a bunch of friends. We're up to 50 people now, and it's always been good for. Well, I was the only one for a while. So
yeah.
My story is just simply my cousin. So his dad taught my dad how to roof. My dad taught me and him how to roof when we were 12. We worked together all the way up into our mid-20s. And then my cousin went to go work for one of the biggest residential roofing companies in Ontario, Canada. From there, he said, the system can be better. I'm going to fix the system. Created this idea, and then he brought me over. And what got me over is the ability to change an industry where pretty much my entire family is in. Like, my uncles are roofers, my dad's a roofer, all that. And what shaped me today is being on the roof as a kid. My work ethic, my everything is from those summers and then moving into full years on the roof. So if I could help out those roofers that are like my dad, like me, I think that we're doing a good job. And it's a cheesy thing, but like you get all the comments and the reviews saying, oh, you guys saved me X amount of dollars, and that's sweet. I love hearing that. But you get the messages saying like, hey, now I get to spend more time with my kids because you guys have saved me from driving around house to house, making the proposals take seconds and stuff. That's what makes a big difference to me. And I know even the CEO of Roofr, Richard, my cousin, because that was our dads growing up. So it's you see it firsthand. So it makes a big difference.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And, you know, I like the comment that you made about it's never a dull moment. You know, you touched earlier on, you know, most of the company is made up of roofers, you know, that have decided to create this program and run this program and make other roofers' lives easier. I can't imagine why that's never a dull moment, man.
Yeah.
I mean, roofers are so much fun to be around.
For real.
Because it's a corporate environment and like we respecting, there are the roofers there, and I have this flag right beside me at all times. Just in case someone starts saying something where I'm like, you're getting into the roofer lane, and just throw the flag on the flag.
That's awesome.
There's that old roofer just voice will just come out every once in a while. I'm like, offline. Offline.
Yeah. No,
we don't know anything about that at all.
We not.
I love it.
Yeah, I like how both of you, you know, mentioned, you know, trying to change the industry, to try to make the industry a better place. I mean, without even saying that, Pete or Nick, I don't know if you realized you said that, but, you know, when you left your previous job to go over to Roofr, you know, you were saying about like you saw that they were doing great things, and not, it wasn't like a personal vendetta. It was more so that you wanted to make a bigger impact on the industry as a whole, which is really awesome. You know what I mean? And of course, the reward of that, I'm sure, you know, at the end of the week financially was your reward, and that way you can take care of your family. But you didn't put that first when you were talking about, you know, your why. And that's what went through my head is that your why is that you wanted to make this place, our space, a better place. You know, and then Nick, you elaborated more on so guys like us could spend more time with our family, and that's, I love that. That's really cool. You know what I mean? So I can really appreciate that because, you know, we try to find that balance. I mean, and it's so difficult, and especially with a program like yours. I mean, I can really see that. I mean, you could bust out 3 or 4 a day, be done by 3 o'clock, go home, take your kid to the baseball game. Hopefully the emails start coming back that they signed the contract while you're at the baseball game watching your kid or whatever like that, and then follow up with them later that evening or tomorrow morning. Like, I can dig that. You know, that's good stuff, man. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with us.
That's a really cool spin to put on it, Nick. You know what I mean? That not a lot of people would. That's not an angle that I hear very often. You know, and just hearing that in the industry, man, our industry is really changing for the greater. You know, we talk about it all the time on how great it is compared to even just 10 years ago. You know, the ability to, you know, all the different blogs that we have on Facebook, all the different groups full of people, you know, entrepreneurs and even people that are just part of businesses, you know, not even necessarily ownership, that are willing to offer their experience and their advice, and like, hey, you know, we had that problem before. This is what we did in our, you know, in our area. Try this and see if it works. You know, guys like David Taggart and DFW that are literally putting huge PDF files of like sales trainings and objection tactics. You know, the Roof Hustlers, you know, all those guys in that group. Like, there's so many people, man, and the knowledge that's at your fingertips and the ability to learn. You know, guys like me that like, I like being able to feed my brain sometimes. I like watching Discovery Channel and watching things that, you know, I'll never probably need to know, but I just like to know things, you know what I mean? So to be able to have all this knowledge at your fingertips and you know, having guys see the bigger picture, you know what I mean? It's not just about always making a paycheck, man. If you're never around your family to spend the money on your paycheck, what the hell are you making a paycheck for? You know, so I like that spin, Nick.
Yeah, me too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good
yeah,
stuff.
and you know, and I think a big thing to note here too is that, you know, like Nick and I, now that we've kind of been on both sides of it, it really allows us a unique insight to be able to be that guy and be that kind of expert knowledge, you know what I mean? And be able to say like, hey, I've been in your shoes and I know that, you want to get home to the family and you can't because it's taken so much time, or, like I had a guy not that long ago tell me he drove 300 miles in one day just to try to get signatures on contracts, right? Like I've been there. I know those days, right? So, I think that one thing you got to keep in mind with us is it's unique in the fact that we get to talk to roofers all day. So we get to see, over the course of the day, like we may talk to 10 different roofers and see 10 different ways of doing business. Mm-hmm. So I can probably give you advice, right? Like that's maybe things that you haven't even thought about because I've talked to a company that's bigger than yours or maybe even smaller than yours that just figured out an amazing way to do some things. And we get these little gems of knowledge from these guys and we're able to pass it on. So, we become almost like consultants. Like, yeah, we're trying to, we're teaching you how to use Roofr and we're getting you going on the product. But at the same time, like anything we can do to help your business and help you guys do better as a contractor, like we're all there for it, like that's what we're there for. That's our goal.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What motivates you guys? Pete, what motivates you? What drives you?
My family for sure. I've got, I've got 7 kids. So we're a huge family. We're like our own football team. And, so yeah, I mean, that's what gets me up every day, whether I like it or not, they're getting me up. Right. So, and we're always going strong. So, like never a dull moment, at work with Nick and the gang, and never a dull moment in the house either. So, that's definitely what motivates me to get going every day and do what we can to make this a better industry and, just a better way of life for everybody, because I know I can relate, to getting home to the family for sure.
Yeah.
How he can be like this active after work, this like productive at work with 7 kids still blows my mind.
A lot of coffee. It's a lot of coffee.
Yeah. I was going to bust on that's probably why you don't have any hair, but I went.
It is.
I went through any.
I used to actually have a bunch, but
not anymore.
Stress will do that to you, right?
I hear the NFL's good. I hear the NFL's trying to make some expansion teams, man. You can.
There you go.
You're halfway there. You're halfway there, bro.
Almost. Right?
Almost got a baseball team.
Yeah, I do. I could feel the team. Yeah,
2 more, you'd be good to go.
What about you, Nick? What drives you, man? What motivates you?
So I big time on family and stuff. I don't have a family of my own. I'm a single guy and stuff like that.
I got some I can loan you.
I was just gonna say he's probably got you on one, man.
Yeah. I can help you out with that.
Yeah, I'll babysit. I'm big on. I'm a really competitive person. I never quit. We're roofers. It's what we do, right? We're a different breed of people. So what motivates me is to make a difference, to actually kind of break through and make a name for myself and Roofr. So making something there too, and helping out those like in need. I know I'm not trying to sound cheesy or like what the talking points are, but like, man, I talked to somebody today who was just like, yeah, like we're going through a rough time with the company. I was like, hey, cool. Here's some tips. Here's some ideas. Let me figure out something for you. I got these free in our free tool. We have XYZ. Let's build a proposal for you right now that you could use for 5, hopefully close one of those, and you're going to pay for a bunch going forward. That kind of stuff makes me way, way happier than money can make me and all that stuff, especially because it's in the industry.
That's awesome.
So those are my go-tos.
Right. The joy of getting that satisfaction out of being able to help somebody else. That's great. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of where I'm at in my career today as well too. It's the people that I get the joy from.
Yeah.
To be able to help or mentor or coach, and like you were saying, Pete, it's almost like you're a roofing counselor. You should probably get some business cards made up and do that on a side hustle there a little bit, because I could only
some consulting, right?
Right. Some roofing consulting there. Because I could only imagine what stuff that you guys hear on a daily basis. Because I know some of the conversations that I have with some of the people that we use, because we become friends as well, not just business associates or acquaintances. We have long-term relationships with people, and it's like we get pretty deep on some shit sometimes, because let's face it, we probably spend more time doing these things than we do with our family. At least I know I do. I know Chris does. So it's like you guys almost become an extension of the company or family. And it's like we can get into some pretty deep conversations with each other. So I can only imagine how interesting it is on some of those calls that you guys take and or with your coworkers having 50 plus people running around acting like crazy roofers all day long. So that's good stuff, man. And I'm feeling that vibe. You know, I dig that. I had no idea. And I didn't want to be cliche and say, you know, by roofers for roofers, because I think we all know who somebody else uses that tagline. But
I think everybody uses that tagline, don't they?
Right. Like somebody, we got.
I wish I would
somebody
trademark that. I'd be just hanging out making royalties.
Right. You know what I mean? But legitly, I mean, you guys, you know, are from the trades, you know, so you can totally understand. And somebody asked me a question, or I asked them a question that about do I think that it made me a better business owner actually coming from the production side opposed to just somebody that decided that they were going to get into the roofing industry and start a business? And my answer to that question is yes. I definitely feel like by me being a roofer and now the entrepreneur / business owner of a roofing business, that on so many different levels, you get so much more out of that. Okay, so I think your guys, you know, the team, the family, the coworkers respect you more, because when you can go out in the field, and I drive a truck, I keep my tool pouch in it, I have a ladder on it, so at any given time, I can roll up, and I'm still stuck in the production days. Believe me, like I'd much rather be out in the field working. Believe me, I really would. I'd probably have less wrinkles and less of a receding hairline. I'm not quite as bad as you, Pete, yet. But
yeah, you're not there yet.
but maybe someday. But anyhow, I think just having that experience, you get a lot of respect. B, you understand the industry a lot better. You know where we're coming from. I know where they're coming from. I know it sucks to be outside when it's 12 degrees out. I know it sucks in August when it's 99 degrees outside. Like, I can have more empathy, more compassion for the people, and I just think altogether it has helped make me be the person that I am today. The motivation and the drive and the energy and determination, because like you said, roofers are a different breed. When we set our minds to something, we get it done. And on some of the projects that I see our guys tackle, it's like that's not human to get some of these projects done, but they get it done. And it's the drive and the passion and all that good stuff. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys because you are from the trade. That's pretty freaking cool. So
thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a different breed for sure. That's like, I don't think you're going to match the drive and determination that most roofers have. And from that production side, my dad's 58 years old and he's still up on the roof almost every day. He doesn't need to be. He just does it.
Right.
He just wants to, if he doesn't have a quote to do, he's just like, all right, I'm going to go up there and bang on some shingles. So
good stress release.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Keeps you in shape too, man. I've gained so much weight since I left the field. It's ridiculous.
It can happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
I think it happens to all of us. No doubt.
For sure.
Well, hell, we're at the 53-minute mark. I mean, we've had a fantastic show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Are you guys doing any kind of trade shows coming up? Are you guys going to be at RoofCon?
Most likely be at RoofCon. We just were at IRE. That's where we met you guys there. And WTS. I think we're going to do RoofCon and possibly the Roofing Insights one. There might be some little ones here and there. So there's a couple here that we're looking at. Yeah, RoofCon will probably be there for sure.
Cool.
Nice, man.
Look forward to seeing you guys because I know we'll be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, let's hook up sometime. Let's collaborate on something or do something, have a conversation more in depth with the products that you guys have. I'm definitely interested. I'm very intrigued. So I had no idea. I just thought it was just another run-of-the-mill aerial roofing measurement company. And I'm really glad that we talked. And Nick, I apologize. I had no idea, not that I would have treated you any differently, but I had no idea that you actually were part owner or partner or whatever.
First hire. I'm not in the founder group, but I was the first one in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no apologies needed. I'm a pleb I'm another cog in the wheel, right? Like
Yeah, no.
that's where I look at it.
Yep, I get that. I totally get that, man. And I'm glad I really ran into you guys down there at IRE, and hopefully we can develop some kind of relationship.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely intrigued to see you guys' product live.
Hell yes.
See it in action.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
absolutely.
stuff it can do. You know, and the funny thing is, you know, Ty, when you made the comment, buy roofers for roofers, I remember that was one of the things that I got swindled on in our first CRM. I was like, Ty, look, it's made by roofers.
Mm-hmm.
It's for us.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
Seriously. Oh, my. Oh, my.
Swindled.
Yeah. And I bought into it. He got swindled, then I got swindled.
No, but you know what? Listen, in the grand scheme of things, I would never realize how much we had to mold the company around this product and how much it didn't really fit us until we found something that did. You know, it was better than the pencil and paper that we were using. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. You know, it was the stepping stone that we needed to get to where we are now with the CRMs that we use now. And, you know, there could potentially be a time that we have to go to a different CRM. Mm-hmm. You know, we may end up, you know, getting big or you know, getting to a point that we had that Job Progress isn't able to service us. And I'm not, by all means, I'm not down talking Job Progress whatsoever, because, you know, that stuff's life right now. We use it every day and it works great. Yeah. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with using one platform to stepstone into another platform. You know, right. if something doesn't necessarily work, because we have kind of a special company. You know, we're big on the retail game, and we do a lot of new construction, purchase order, that kind of stuff. So to be able to run a CRM, a lot of your CRMs are based around retail, you know, insurance sales and that kind of stuff. Not very many of them are able to mold into, you know, the beast that we have running.
Or even like a service department. You know, we've run into a couple workarounds, you know, having a service department. I don't think a lot of roofing contractors or companies have an actual service department that do a lot of repairs. So we have quite a few guys running around doing, you know, repairs and service and stuff like that. And we've found some hiccups there, but we're working around that. So it's like, and I think we have so many moving parts that, like Chris was saying, we had to mold around it because it just, and then they've also helped us in many ways to try to like mold it to what we do. But there's been some sacrifice and things along the way there too. But right now I think we're happy with where we're at, and I'm hoping that there's maybe some way down the road here that you guys can bolt onto our CRM and you know, perhaps, you know, use your services, you know, later on at some point in time.
Yeah. And to that point, you know, I think that one of the things that when I first came over, right, and some of the insight that I was able to help with is we're building this proposal feature. And, you know, one of the things that we talked about was there's so many different types of proposals that you could write, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have different ways of estimating, you have different directions, retail and insurance and commercial and all these things. And building a product that was flexible enough to kind of accommodate all of those guys without having to have a workaround. You know, like one of the first questions that we ask on the onboarding side of it is, how do you guys currently do it? How do you do it now? Like how, you know, and let's just essentially mirror that process. Like we're not looking to reinvent the wheel now that you're on Roofr and you're using our proposal software. You know, let's just take what you're doing and make a more streamlined version of it, you know, and I think that's a big piece of it, you know, and it definitely helps with product adoption from your team, right? Like you were talking about having to train new people, but also your existing guys, right? Like one of the biggest ways to meet resistance with your existing sales team is to come to them and say, hey, we're going to quote a whole different way now, you know, and they're going to be like, yeah, you know, yes. You kiss our ass. Right. So, you know, so I think, you know, being able to say like, hey, we're just going to take what you guys are doing and just give you an easier, better version of it. You know, I think that's, you know, that's a huge piece. Like that's a huge piece to the success of what we do, but also being able to get you guys to adopt it and make it part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah. We cannot ask our team to make any new changes anytime soon. I think if I throw something else in the mix on them right now, I'd probably come up MIA.
Yeah. You got me on your hands. Yeah. They're like, that's enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but for sure interested in the aerial part of it. You know, I want to, you know, check that out, look at one of your reports. and see what information it has, and hopefully maybe it'll integrate with the software that we have now, which would be pretty cool because A, I like the price of it, B, I like the turnaround time on it, and 3, I think you guys are pretty fucking cool.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We try.
Yeah. And that matters to me, you know? So anyhow.
Yeah. It's been a great episode, man.
For real.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the people that are watching out here. Once again, if you guys have not already liked the page, like the TC Backer Construction page, make sure you hop onto the Roofers Facebook page, give them a like. Share this stream out. Make sure you guys hit the bell for notifications. That way you guys know every time we go live. I'm sure most of you guys know by now we go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Next Wednesday is episode 115.
Boom.
Man.
But yeah, Nick and Pete, it's been a great episode. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully see you guys down at RoofCon.
Yep.
Maybe grab a bite or something like that.
Well, hell, Pete's only in Jersey.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I'm only a few hours away from you guys, so
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. I
You
like
guys
that.
the road trip with 7 kids?
yeah, I'll bring them all out to visit TC Backer.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. What vehicle do you drive? Like, do you have a bus?
Transport
We
truck.
squeeze them all in. Yeah, I need a bus.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
a school bus, but
Damn.
yeah.
God bless you, dude. God
Yeah.
bless
Yeah.
you. And you still have a smile on your face.
Yeah, you got to have a sense of humor. Otherwise, you'd probably cry yourself to sleep at night.
I know I would. My God. That'd be a hefty alimony or child support bill, too. Damn.
Yeah.
You better behave.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, you
Yeah.
guys have a great night. Thank you for coming on, and thank everybody for watching and tuning in and all that good stuff.
Yes. Everyone, give these guys a round of applause. It's been a great episode here. We thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week, 7 p.m. for episode 115 of Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer. Everyone have a great night.
See ya.
Thank you.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar.